This is one of the best patches Shinobi Striker has ever seen. Not only are we going to talk about Konohamaru's jutsu and the new defense type weapon he brings, we're also going to talk about the brand new map that just dropped, and it is quite different from everything else we had so far. Also, hashtag Fix Shinobi Striker has officially made it into the game, as we now have a report button at the end of each match so you can report hackers directly in-game. It's so good. Konohamaru himself is an attack type DLC with a couple of jutsu that seem really strong and an ultimate that maybe has some issues. But we'll break it all down after a quick message from today's sponsors, Sakurako and Tokyo Treat, two Japanese snack boxes full of delicious treats. Tokyo Treat is all about the limited editions that are only available in Japan. This month's theme is Halloween, spooktacular snacking. So you've got sweet potato Kit Kats, Tokyo Layer Loaf Maple Pumpkin, and Squid Ink Yakisoba. Yes, that is lunch already sorted out for you. On the other hand, this month's Sakurako is one of my favorites so far. Ibaraki has been known as a major center of agriculture for centuries, making it especially important during October, which is harvest season. Some of my favorites from this box are the puffed rice carrots, super light but delicious, and the chestnut karinto. I could eat this every day. As usual, this box comes complete with tea and a special Japanese tableware. Each box also comes with a booklet guide full of information on what all the snacks are, where they come from, and a little background on what you will be eating. So, whether you prefer tradition with Sakurako or the limited editions of Tokyo Treat, we've got you covered. There's a link down below to both boxes, and whichever one you choose, you can enter code Globku for $5 off your first box. And thank you so much for sponsoring this video. Let's start by looking at the new map. The new Hidden Sand training field is huge. There's a whole underground area that's very maze-like in nature. It's gonna take a while for players to get used to it and know where they actually are, which is definitely off-putting at first, but I think it's so cool because it's different. And it's not just a maze underground, there's a whole area above ground too, so depending on the game mode, you might be spending more time battling in this closed space or out in the open. This map also has a new mechanic because you can open this gate right here by standing in the point and charging your chakra for a bit. This can create some new teamwork opportunities. For instance, if someone's carrying the flag, another teammate can open the gate so they can get through, or guard the gate until it closes so the enemy can chase them. It's a really cool idea. It's wonderful to see them playing around with systems like this. But let's talk Konohamaru. When you buy this DLC, you only get a couple of new cosmetic items. You've got the Konohamaru outfit too, that looks like this, and you get the young Konohamaru hairstyle. Not a lot in terms of cosmetics, but there's something that will make this DLC appealing to defense types, and that is a new weapon, the Adamantine Nioi Enra. This staff has a very similar moveset to the Greatsword, only with a different strong attack on the ground. But what makes it really good is the jumping strong attack. While it looks similar to the sword and it bounces the opponent off the ground just the same, the difference here is you can bounce them multiple times without dropping your combo. This weapon single-handedly increases the defense type's damage output with melee attacks by a lot. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this is immediately nerfed next patch because it definitely looks like an oversight, but for now it is a must-have for defense types. But let's talk jutsu. First up, fire style Burning Ash. First, you'll expel hot ash from your mouth, and this works like a big smoke bomb. If an enemy is caught in it, they will be stunned. And if you activate the jutsu again, the ash will explode, dealing initial damage as well as continuous burning damage. First things first, this jutsu works like a smoke bomb. This means it's unblockable, so it's gonna counter things like the Susanoo armor. The ash itself doesn't delete sand shields or water pillars, but the follow-up explosion actually does. So it's good for getting rid of a few annoying jutsu, but not all of them. Petrification, Needle Jizo, Demon Hunter, Kamui, Truth Seeker Orb, everything is able to survive the ash and the follow-up explosion. But it's still a great counter to some defensive jutsu, not only because it deletes them, but also because it's a solid jutsu for dealing damage. Or rather, a solid jutsu for setting up big damage. While the target is stunned, you can start a combo, blow up the ash, and pick up the combo again. It's an attack type's dream. However, it also has a few downsides. First of all, the cast time. This jutsu takes a while to come out. It's hard to use in the heat of battle. You will most likely get interrupted a lot if you try to use it that way. I find it very useful to pre-cast it and have it ready to go before even engaging the enemy. Second downside is jumping opponents. While on the ground, this will stun enemies for a very long time. But if the opponent is in the air, the stun is a lot smaller. It's still big enough to pick up a combo or hit them with the explosion, but that big damage combo you were going for might be ruined. This is the downside that makes this jutsu kinda balanced, since most enemies are usually jumping. That means most of the time you won't get that big damage. And finally, the third downside, the range. While the initial ash goes very far and covers a wide area, if you want it detonated, you have to be pretty close to the ash. Luckily, this third downside can be countered by having a fire style jutsu on your side. If you or your teammates hit the ash with a fire jutsu, they can also ignite it. It has to be someone from your team. If the enemy shoots a fireball, it won't ignite it, so you don't have to worry about that. But that's a whole new level of synergy that we haven't seen before. It's a jutsu that can be triggered by a teammate's jutsu, and it's by far the most unique thing Konohamaru brings to the game. Now, from our tests, it does have to be a jutsu. We tried doing it with a few ninja tools, and unfortunately, it just didn't work. Still, it seems like a great choice for attack types from the damage you can set up from it and the jutsu that it counters. Up next, fire style flaming meteors. You create a clone that jumps in the air and just starts raining down flame bombs. It's pretty straightforward. Hit the button, the clone comes out, and it's a remote machine gun of fireballs. Seriously, that thing is like a turret. The tracking is okay. The clone kind of shoots in a wide spread, so the chances of you hitting with a couple of these is pretty high, but most likely you'll also be missing with a few of those, unless you have a really good placement. However, what makes this ability special is that as soon as you use it, if any enemy is locked onto you, they will instantly become locked on to the clone. So it works as a great defensive maneuver. It's similar to a substitution. When you sub out to the enemy, becomes locked on to the clone that you sub to. This is the same deal, only you can't use it while getting hit, but it's really fast. Definitely something that I can see the value of if I'm trying to stay alive. We tested the tracking against a few abilities, but no, it doesn't track enemies if they've used Nagato's chameleon to go invisible, for instance, and it can also be an absolute ultimate battery if the enemy is running karma, because that clone is not gonna stop attacking, so Kawaki is just gonna keep absorbing it. But it's a jutsu with a more defensive focus, and I don't think attack types have too many of those. To wrap things up, we have his ultimate, Summoning Jutsu Inra. This is a two-stage ultimate. The first stage is a short range activation. In a small area around you, every enemy will have a monkey on their back. Yeah, you heard me. The monkey deals damage over time, reduces the enemy's movement speed, and disables their substitutions. Then, you can activate the ultimate again for the second stage. Konohamaru spins his stick in the air, and every enemy with a monkey on their back will see a giant hand emerge from the ground, and if it hits them, it will one-shot them and give them an increased spawn time. Now, this all sounds great in theory, but I don't think this is a very good ultimate for a variety of reasons that I don't even know if a single balance patch is gonna fix this. First, the range. Its short range activation means that catching multiple enemies on the enemy team isn't very easy. Not to mention the amount of times that I simply died in the middle of that animation just because I have to be on top of the enemy team. But even if you catch 2 or 3 players, when you activate the second stage, the monkey on their backs disappears immediately, so the enemy has a window where they can simply move out of the way. Now, you can set up the monkeys and then coordinate and combo an enemy into the hand, which means in coordinated teams, this could be a threat. But even then, this ultimate charge is super long. It takes a while to get this ultimate. And if we're talking attack types, there are just a lot better choices for ultimate jutsu. I don't see this one sticking around for long. And that's Konohamaru. With this DLC, I don't think they did anything crazy. They made a couple of good jutsu, nothing broken though, as it should be. I love that your teammates can trigger the ash with their own fire jutsu. I definitely would like to see more of this jutsu synergy out there, but I do think they fumbled the ultimate jutsu. Maybe with a faster charge, it could be a viable option, but even then, attack types have so many good options at their disposal that it's hard to recommend Konohamaru for the ultimate. Still, you gotta look at him as a full package. And don't forget that that package brings a goated weapon for defense types. The DLC may be a bit expensive if all you're getting out of it is a weapon, but if you like playing attack types, I think the 2 jutsu are just fine and can make for some really fun loadouts. And those are my thoughts on Konohamaru, but I'd love to know what you guys think of him as well. And don't forget about today's sponsors, Sakurako and Tokyo Treats. No matter which box you choose, use code Globku for $5 off your first order. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku and I'll see you next time. Bye!